Okay, so my presentation disability was about right hemiplegia. So right hemiplegia is paralysis of the right side of the body, and it occurs when there is damage to the left side of the brain. There's also such thing as left hemiplegia, which is damage to the right side of the brain. And common things that cause this are a stroke, a traumatic brain injury, or cerebral palsy. There's many more symptoms that can cause this, but these are just the most common. Why is it important to know? So it can affect kids in classroom with emotional and behavioral issues, and right hemiplegia leads to temperament issues, and it causes kids to rewire, and it just means that they don't know what they're doing and like they don't know the way that they're acting. Um, Additionally, it also causes physical challenges due to paralysis on the right side of the body, and it disrupts the connection between the brain and the muscle. And many children also experience difficulties with eating in mealtime. So when you're a teacher, you're going to have to know what to do at those times. And it's because of the motor impairments, and it affects the muscles used for chewing and swallowing. And also, communication is a very big impact that people with brain damage have. And it just impacts the ability to communicate effectively. So also as a teacher, you're going to want to know how to help kids with that. So how can we help as teachers? So just clearing pathways, just to make sure that wheelchairs won't get stuck. And I'll talk more about that in one of my accommodations. Also preferential seating, just to make sure they're comfortable and also comfortable in school. And adjustable furniture, I'll also talk about that in one of my accommodations. And then non-slip surfaces, just to ensure that they don't slip and fall. And storage accessibility, just to make sure that they have access to all the things they need. And also just to make sure that they have access to ask somebody if they do need something as well. So some goals I had for these students were turning pages of a book, just a fine motor skill, playing with a slinky, just high-fiving, and just knowing more about their own disability. And then how I would help them with these goals is breaking down tasks, giving extra time, and giving them plenty of encouragement. So there is treatment options for right hemiplegia. Physical therapy, which it just strengthens muscles and improves mobility. Occupational therapy just helps people regain independence with daily activities. Speech therapy is only needed if speech or swallowing is affected. Medication just to help with stiffness or pain. Assistive devices like braces, walkers, or wheelchairs. And supportive care, which is what I recommend is counseling, but there's also adaptive education plan and family training. So some symptoms are weakness or complete paralysis on one side. There's difficulty walking or balance. There's drooping of one side of the face. There's speech and a language problem. They have difficulty with fine motor skills, and they have possible change in sensation or perception, and just fatigue and muscle stiffness. So there is a lot that can impact a person with right hemiplegia in daily life. These are just a few of the things that I wrote down. There's many, many more, but I'm just gonna summarize these. Um, so people with right hemiplegia can never do anything independently again. And I wrote an example. There's also many things in here that say that how they can't do it things independently, but this is just the example I have. Is that they're often weak and stiff and have no movement on one side, so it makes walking, standing, and maintaining balance difficult. So they're going to have a person with them at all times just to make sure that they don't fall. Um, Another example would be with self-care or just writing, eating, or dressing. Also, you're going to need a person for all of those. Emotional or cognitive effects. Simple tasks take much more energy because one side of the body is doing most of the work. Their risk of falling is significantly higher because they have bad strength and balance. So again, the person's just going to have to be with them just to make sure they don't fall. They may require daily therapy or even multiple therapies daily. Their speech and language difficulties. So again, they're probably going to have a person being able to talk for them or know what they're saying. They have trouble understanding spoken or written words sometimes. They have slower processing abilities just because of the brain damage that they have. And just daily routines are much harder for them. And then this one's like, it hits me hard, but people with hemiplegia, they don't often have many friends, and it leads to depression or anxiety. And they also must depend on others, and their self-esteem can lower because of that, and can also lead to depression or anxiety. And that's just really sad to me. And then here's my references. And this is my accommodation 1 video.
The first accommodation I'm going to be talking about is functionality and comfort, which when I heard those words, I was thinking adjustable furniture would be great for those functionality and comfort. So an example would be tilting a desk, which can improve writing, eating, and using a computer because it allows the user to put it on an angle that works for them. So height adjustable tables, desks, and beds provide flexibility for the children to customize their workspace to suit their specific activities and physical needs, which can reduce physical pain and discomfort. The ability to adjust the height of furniture, it minimizes the risks of falls or overexertion while sitting, and it also allows the user to easily transition between sitting and standing positions. This capability is particularly important for children who may require settings for various tasks or who experience fatigue for prolonged periods in one position. Adjustable furniture promotes better posture and overall comfort when users can modify their height or angle of their workspace. They can achieve proper body alignment that supports their natural posture. Features such as movable armrests and back supports further enhance this experience, ensuring that the child can engage in activities while not worrying about their body or being uncomfortable.
I have my second accommodation here.
The second accommodation I'm going to be talking about is accessibility in the classrooms. And I'm going to be talking about 3 different types of things you can do in the classroom to help this child. So the first one is placing frequently used items on the left side of their desks, like a computer mouse or pencil or other daily items that they use, because this is going to help the child access these materials easier. And this small change can reduce the time and effort required for them to engage with their learning activities. The second one is keeping the aisles clear of obstacles. A clutter-free environment facilitates easier navigation for the child and also ensures that they can move around safely, especially if they're in a wheelchair or have other mobility challenges. Teachers can regularly remind students to tidy up after themselves, and this reinforces the importance of maintaining a spacious environment and accommodating everyone's needs. The third one is providing additional time for the child to complete assignments, whether the tasks is writing or typing or any other activity. Recognizing that one side of their body has limitations is essential. This extra time will alleviate pressure and allow this child to focus on quality rather than the speed of which they're doing. And then promoting a more inclusive and supportive learning atmosphere. Implementing these accommodations can greatly enhance the educational experience for all of the students and foster a classroom environment that values accessibility and individual needs.
Okay, so that was my presentation on right hemiplegia.